Okay, so we're up to Iron Fist now, and listen, I know a lot of people don't like this show. A lot of people consider it one of Marvel's worst TV shows amongst Agents of Shield and the Netflix shows. Um, I don't see that, right? There's a lot that I enjoyed in this show. And in reality, it's not as bad as everyone says it is, okay? It does have some good points. So, what I'm going to do in this review is address most of those complaints and then go over the things that I liked about this show. Okay, so the first complaint is that the show's fighting is lazy and choppy. Choppy referring to the editing. And I will admit this one. Don't be surprised if I admit a couple of these complaints are correct. The fighting and choreography in this show is not too good. I mean, not all the fight scenes though. In just a reasonable amount of them. There are a lot of shots, a lot of cuts, a lot of angles, and the choreography is good enough when it's not Finn Jones doing it. And the thing is, the reason why there are so many cuts and angles is because they didn't actually have enough time to properly prepare for this show. That's not too good because Finn Jones didn't do. He barely did any of the choreography for this show. So that's why there's so many cuts and angles. So, I mean, but for the most part, you can see what's going on. It's not like big and long take like Daredevil's shows are. Like Daredevil's fight scenes are, and it doesn't have to be. It's just different, and a reasonable amount of those fight scenes are not the best. But whatever. I mean, that's not why I like the show. So I agree with those people, and I understand. I see where they're coming from, but I'm moving on from that. Another complaint that I agree with is Finn Jones's performance for Danny Rand. It wasn't that good, and personally, the things that annoyed me was that whenever he would try and display anger or frustration, he would always rub his head and just pace back and forth, and it looked really weird and unnatural because not everyone gets angry. Most people don't get angry that way. Another thing that I will admit, but didn't actually annoy me that much, is that he kept saying, "I am the Iron Fist, the enemy of the hand." This didn't annoy me too much, but I understand why it would annoy people, because he keeps going over the same thing. But I will say, with these flaws in Finn Jones's performance, I have a theory, alright? I don't believe in this theory too much, but I still have it. My theory is that the writers did this on purpose. That it's not just Finn Jones's performance for Danny Rand. It's also the writers. They are trying to portray immaturity for the character of Danny Rand because the character himself, the actor and the character, are both very young, right? So I think what they're trying to do is over time he's going to mature, and that's how we get invested into the character of Danny Rand. Okay, the last complaint that I absolutely do not agree with is that people have compared this Marvel Netflix show to previous Marvel Netflix shows like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage, and so many people have said, well-known critics, by the way, have said that one of the reasons why this show just doesn't work is that it focuses on rich, wealthy people who work in skyscrapers. I don't see how that would affect the show. Like, I agree with the other stuff, but this is the only thing I just don't understand. Like, okay, so what it is Daredevil was good because it focused on a hero driven by morals. Jessica Jones' show was good because it focused on an investigator, PI, who it was more like a survivor story, and still is with season 2. And Luke Cage was more like a black man rising up to be a hero. So those heroes are very grounded. Danny Rand is the only one that isn't quite as grounded as them, but he still has a lot of humanity in him. So, no, I don't think the fact that he's rich and works in a skyscraper was the reason. I think the other reasons were why the show just wasn't that good, okay? So, I don't agree with that, but I wanted to mention that because that's just complete batshit to me. Okay, so to wrap this up, I'm just going to quickly go over the things that I liked. I don't know why I did this. Despite all its flaws, Finn Jones's performance included, I liked this show because, I don't know, there was just something the first time I watched it. Maybe it was the time. I mean, maybe it was the time of year that I was watching it. I just was all happy for some reason. But I don't know, I really liked this show. I really connected with the characters. That's my water. I don't know if you heard that. It just freaked the fuck out of me. I really connected with the characters to an extent. And what I found really interesting was the Hand. Now, we have seen the Hand before, like I mentioned in my review for Daredevil Season 2. In this, the story surrounding the Hand is continued to be like an organization, right? So a very powerful organization with a lot of influence and a lot of wealth and a lot of power. It's great. And it shows us, it brings in Madame Gao from Daredevil, but it also brings in new heads or leaders of the Hand. Like Nobu was a leader, I think, and Madame Gao is a leader. And then now this season we get, this show we get Bakuto. I liked him. I thought he was great. Madame Gao is still the best as far as I'm concerned. She's just awesome. But I like how the Hand were done in this show. And I like how they were done in Daredevil Season 2. And so I just like the Hand overall. But do I like them in Defenders? That is the next Marvel Netflix show. So I think you'll just have to wait. And of course you're going to have to wait and wait until that review. Anyway, that's the next Marvel Netflix show review. But the next review, I think, coming up is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Anyway, I will see you in those future reviews.